Hey all, we're here talking to the Void once more, as I seem to be joined again by my co-star, Fibioso here, and we're speaking to the Void about Zombieland Double Tap. Now, like many people at this point, we've been experiencing a bit of a zombie overload in the past few years, and like a lot of people, I'm kind of burnt out on them as well. But 10 years ago, it was a bit of a different story. They were just really coming into the. Oh, you've got opinions? They're just coming into the mainstream, I suppose, and they were, well, that's about when The Walking Dead, I believe, began for the TV series, and from there on, very much entered the cultural norm. So zombie stuff was everywhere, and around then is when the original Zombieland came out, which is about the perfect time for it. Is just when zombies were starting to get a little oversaturated. Zombieland existed as a very self-aware, punchy comedy that was really it really separated itself from a lot of the others as I guess sort of a no holds barred action feel good comedy. And now 10 years later, zombies are still everywhere. It's kind of died off a bit, but the zombie fatigue still hasn't quite gone away yet. But this then but at the same time, it was not a bad point for this movie to come out, as it still maintains a bit of self-awareness in regards to that, and actually seems to comment a little bit on certain other zombie series along the way. So I was a big fan of the original Zombieland, and it remains one of my favorite zombie flicks. Not only is it a funny comedy, but it stands as a decent zombie movie as well. Now, its return in Double Tap, it actually does hold up pretty well. The main cast, Woody Harrelson, Abigail Breslin, Emma Stone, and Jesse Eisenberg, all reprise their roles, and they it's like no time has passed really. The characters still they slip back into the roles effortlessly. Uh, it's so it's weird to see how some of them have grown up in the time frame, especially Abigail Breslin. I mean, she was I think like preteen at the time, and now she's, I believe, her character is 17 in this. I think the actress is a bit older, so I think in her 20s. So it's weird to see that much of a dramatic shift. It's most noticeable in her, but she still feels like the same character, and the progression of her aging does seem natural. Now, the movie is set 10 years after the first one, and the main characters are currently living in the White House because why wouldn't you? And it begins with kind of an opening of kind of summing up how things have changed or not changed in the past 10 years. The main difference is zombies are starting to evolve, and now there are seeing distinct types of zombies. In addition to the just basic run of the mill zombies, three other types have emerged. The Homer, as in Homer Simpson, which are the dumb, most people just ignore them because they're not even worth the bullet. The Hawking, which, as in Stephen Hawking, which are the smart zombies, which have unusual cunning. The Ninja, which is the very silent, stealthy one. And it's from there that the main characters are starting to get used to things and make their home and their family. Now, when then Jesse Eisenberg's character Columbus proposes to Emma Stone's Wichita, it sort of shakes a little bit of her world, as she's been the perpetual wanderer and doesn't like being anchored down. And her sister Little Rock is at a point where she wants some characters to be some people her own age, as she's been growing up with, well, just then with 10 years with just the same three people. She wants maybe find romance, find people her own age, have a childhood. And well, so those two set off, and Little Rock meets up with a hippie named Berkeley, who then essentially wants to help her get to a commune to be among younger people. They end up ditching Wichita, who comes back for the others to try to, well, mount a rescue attempt on to find Little Rock. especially since a new type of zombie has emerged, dubbed the T-800, because these Terminators are unstoppable. And it's pretty much a road trip movie from there as they once more go cross country, shooting zombies and meeting several new characters, including the very dim Madison, who makes a play as being Columbus's new girlfriend due to comedic timing and misunderstandings. And a few characters that seem to doppelganger the originals, including Albuquerque and Flagstaff. It maintains the same level of self-aware humor that the first one did, and overall, I was laughing out loud quite often at this movie, and none of the jokes seem to overplay themselves. Some of Jesse Eisenberg's cringe level of humor is still in effect from the first one, but it's a relatable sort, and Tallahassee remains as quotable as ever. Um, I don't know if there's any real downside to the movie. There's nothing really that's detracting from it. I will say it wasn't as fresh as the first one, but it's more of the same. And if you like the original, I think you'll like this one as well. Um, I would not be opposed to this series continuing. The characters are still enjoyable to spend time with, and it's just an enjoyable experience. So, giving this one 4 out of 5 MacGuffins. So the original Zombieland, I would actually rate up to 5, but this one, it's good enough to maintain, but it doesn't have quite the same zip that the first one did. It's not quite as quotable, or a lot of the individual scenes aren't quite as memorable as the first one. But overall, I do highly like this one. Do recommend it. Check it out if you haven't seen it yet. I think it only came out last year, so it's still a very new movie. But yeah, check it out.